Hope everybody's doing great today. And I just thought I'd come online to just have a discussion really around commitment. And to be honest, I had an intention of talking about something completely different, but today, just in the moment coming to turn this recording on, I just thought to myself, I prayed and I said, God, what would you have me sort of like have a conversation on? And I just felt strongly to talk about this prophet of the scripture called Hosea and sort of his life and how that's a reflection, I guess, or a countercultural aspect of the idea of what modern commitment is or what commitment is in the modern world that we live in now. And for those who don't know the story of Hosea, he's a prophet, so he's a holy man. Once you put the name prophet on your name, there is something interesting about you. But that's how the scripture describes him. And he gets this audacious task by God um, to marry this woman called Gomer. But the thing about Gomer is that she's a prostitute. And you can imagine this holy man, if you will, gets told by God to go and marry this woman that gives her body away for money and has many, I guess, lovers or people who pay to um, participate in the act, business, or whatever you may call it, that she's, in. And he's obedient, which is crazy. God says you need to go marry this woman, and there's this author, he's passed away, Christian author called Ravi Zacharias, and he painted this vivid picture once of this same scenario. He said, "Can you imagine this holy man? He gets told by God that he needs to marry this woman, and then he goes in a lineup." And while men are paying for affection, he goes in a lineup waiting for his turn, not to participate in what we're participating in, but just to say, "Will you marry me? I've come to take you as my wife." And, I guess people must have been talking, look at this holy man. What is he doing with this prostitute? What is he doing with this woman? How can he take her for his wife? What is going on here? And this is so countercultural because when, for me as a young man, look at the modern world now, what I see is if, a woman is an OnlyFans model, for instance, or she may have plenty of partners. You have men like Andrew Tate, men in the world saying there's no way I can be with a woman like that. There is never a time or an opportunity that she'll ever change. She'll always be that person. There is no chance or hope of redemption for that individual. And so Hosea gets told to go marry this woman, and how the scripture describes it, they have children, but it describes it in a way that some of these children might not be his. And so not only did he marry her, she's still continuing to do the things that she did before. She still has men paying for her affection. She still has multiple lovers. She's still doing the same thing. And yet Hosea stays committed and stays with this woman. Um, but the reason, I guess, why this story is so important in this instance is because this is a real reflection of God's relationship with Israel at the time, where God is saying, the nation of Israel, I have set you aside for myself. I have made you a my bride and I'm your bridegroom. I have taken care of you. I have loved you from everlasting to everlasting. I've loved you. Um, but you seek other gods. You um do other things I've told you not to do, that you've broken the covenant of our relationship, the way that we've agreed to love each other. You've broken your bond, you've broken your word. And but at the same time, God stays committed to the nation of Israel. And really it's so countercultural whenever God does something in the scripture. As we see it, someone cheats on you, someone hurts you, someone breaks your heart, someone, whatever it is the person does, you know, that makes love and commitment uncomfortable. The modern day world says, okay, then just pick up and leave. Whether it's the Andrew Tates of the world, they say, if the relationship serves you no benefit, then leave. Whether it's the hookup culture of the world, where it says, okay, then not one person can give me the things that I need, so I won't commit to one person. Um, I won't even make a commitment. I will just leave everything vague, where, I'm seeing you, situationship, whatever the word is, we find and try to sort of like mangle a way around to say that this isn't what it is or what it looks like, and um just trying to avoid the whole idea of what commitment is, maybe because the word feels uncomfortable. I don't know. But here we have in the scripture where this man is committed, or has been told that he needs to love this woman. And I think at the heart of this, the reason why I'm talking about commitment now is that sometimes we forget that commitment is a very, or can be a very uncomfortable thing, because you've made a vow, you made a solemn promise, you dedicated yourself, and you said you're going to do this thing, or you're going to love this person. And oftentimes, when we think about, we make these vows, whether you're getting married or whether you're, go to a new job, whether it's a friendship or whatever it may be, some sort of relationship, you always see the honeymoon phase. You always see, well, this person makes me feel this way. So, of course, I can sort of like make that commitment to them. This person has provided me these things. So, of course, I can make that commitment to them. But then, the question that no one really asks themselves is that, what do you do when that person doesn't make you feel that way anymore? What do you do when that person breaks their word, or the honeymoon stage of that relationship and the dynamics of that relationship has changed? What do you do? Do you then say that, oh, this really doesn't serve me any purpose anymore, because I'm looking and seeing where the benefits are. There are no benefits. I'm really uncomfortable. I don't feel loved. Any sort of like thing like that. So it's about time that I break this off. It's about time that I go somewhere else. It's about time that I do something different. And there are times when that is indeed um, the best choice to do. But we often don't consider, we often too quick to say that that's the, the right choice to do. We fail to ask really, or fail to even comprehend that love is not something that we feel, it's something that we do. It's something that we express, not to ourselves, but to someone else. And so, the Bible is really amazing on this when it says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not self seeking, it holds no record of right or wrong, it always protects, it always perseveres. Notice that this idea of what love is, it's sacrificial. It's something that is, you do of service to someone else. It's something that, you use to, that calls you to forgive. It's something that calls you to be patient. It's something that calls you to, not hold something against someone when they've wronged you, when they've, said all manner of things about you, I guess. And so, just, I like to ask you over this question, because I'm asking myself is, what what is commitment to you? Are you really truly committed? Firstly, in this instance, are you really truly committed to God when it's uncomfortable, when He's called you to do something and to go places and to speak to people that might be, you know, let's say the least, might not want to hear what you're saying at best. And, you know, um, very provocative at worst, right? Or could possibly be, present itself into a really just uncomfortable situation for you. What's your commitment like to God when someone says something and you have to stand and hold account and say, okay, then, you know, this is the God that I serve, and I serve him because of this. And regardless of whether you feel I'm silly, whether you feel like, whatever it may be, regardless of what you think of me, this is my belief and this is my love for God. Right? So what's your commitment like to that when God calls you in uncomfortable places, uncomfortable situations? But also, do we know, I guess, if the relationships that we have, if they're of a genuine place of commitment and love, or are they solely transactional? Are we staying with people because of what we can get? Because many people in scripture follow Jesus because they could receive healing, they could get food. Many would follow him, but they didn't believe in him or what he was saying, but they still follow him. So are we are we just sort of staying in relationships, or staying in situations because of what we can get? And at the in at the root of that, I guess the question is, what's your heart like? What's your heart like when it comes to um providing things for people? What's your heart like when it comes to standing up for people? Are we standing up for individuals because of what we can get, all the benefits that provides, or maybe to be seen, to be heard? Because if I stand up for this cause or for these people, then I would seem, I guess, um righteous in their eyes, in the masses' eyes, or justified, or whatever it may be. So what is the reason we are showing commitment, showing love, um, and is it coming from a good place? And so yeah, that's something I'm gonna be really thinking about this week, and as the week starts, I'm gonna really sort of like ponder that, and I hope that's something that you take on yourself as well, and just really ask yourself, you know, how truly committed are you to loving God? Or as one sort of pastor puts it, would you still love God if you receive no benefit from it but God Himself? If there was no blessings, if there was no promise of heaven, it was just you and God and that relationship, and fostering it and growing it, will you still love him if there was no benefits? Because Jesus Christ clearly outlined is that the world hated him, and so because it hated him first, it will hate you. um and and so it's coming from a place where, like, there's a promise of benefits, but what if that's all you got? All the things you got were, the world hated me first, so will hate you. um when it talks about people being martyred for Christ's name, what if those are the benefits, that not benefits, what if that's all you get? Would you still love God? And I guess that's a question for me also, and I really think about that this week. So yeah, commitment. It's a Yeah, the modern world says that it's transactional. You have to get something to give something, or you only give something because you get something. Whereas the scripture is saying clearly with this um, story of Hosea and Gomer, but also all throughout scripture, where God is saying, look, I get no benefit from sending my son Jesus to die for you. I just love you, And so I did that to reconcile our relationship so that we can be close again. And it's that same thing. We have to ask ourselves that question, like, are we truly committed? Are we truly committed to following God? And are we truly committed to loving the people that are in our lives, that come through our lives, that we come across, even if we get no benefit from it at all?